where do your SDRs get their data? David, why is this an illuminating question to ask?
So I think it will bring up a few different points. One, is this organization just asking the SDRs to research a target company list that you give them? Is it something that is built and they have a capability to build a list for the SDRs? Or are they asking the client, you, to be able to provide a list? And without a really good targeted list of the right types of accounts and the right types of prospects, it's very hard, if not impossible, to have a great program and for SDRs to be effective at what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And so I think it's illuminating to get a sense for, is this an organization that can work with you to really help define and understand your TAM, your total addressable market, your core customers, and the buyer personas within those accounts? And then with that information, can they generate good contact lists with mobile numbers, direct dial numbers that are updated so that a prospecting program can be effective? So it first illuminates the capabilities of that organization. Second, it gives you a sense of what the SDRs are doing with their day. We are strong believers that great SDRs who are really good at on the phone are either not or don't want to be or shouldn't be researchers. And it is a great way to divide the role. So we have a whole research team, we have a whole data ops team that it is their job to build those lists and those prospect lists for the SDRs. And we want to maximize the amount of time the SDRs have prospecting, cold calling, talking to prospects, instead of looking through LinkedIn, looking through Zoom Info, all the different databases to get the perfect list, because at the end of the day, that just slows them down and it's not what their highest and best use is. So I think it's illuminating in a number of ways, Alex, and that's why I would make sure to ask that question when evaluating a partner.
Yeah, and I think this is something a lot of people overlook. If you don't have experience running SDR teams, you can do all the training and everything. And a lot of people don't think about the data quality part. And the data quality actually is one of the most challenging parts of building a successful inside sales SDR team. Like you said, if they're calling numbers that don't exist anymore with the great resignation, that person has moved, that's a wasted dial, right? And you're not hitting your target. And this is definitely something that can be overlooked. So we have a good way to follow up on this. And you said that people should be aware of zero data campaigns. Can you explain what a zero data campaign is and why people should be aware of that when they're evaluating partners?
Yeah, so I think this goes back to some of the things I just talked to, but it's really helping to illuminate them. So if either the company doesn't have a list of prospects, right, that means it's up to you, or you're going to have to go find another company to generate that list of prospects. So that's something you have to think about, and whether that's something you want to have happen. I would really encourage you to make sure that it's under one roof, because all of a sudden you get them. If you provide a list of companies or contacts, or you get a third party to provide a list of companies or contacts versus your partner, you could just have the partner say, well, we had a terrible list and that's why we're not generating results, right? You want all accountability to be with them. And so that's why you don't want them to have zero data and bring zero data to the table. The other part is, like I said, you don't want the SDRs to be researching and building their own TAM. Great, our best callers, the last thing they want to be doing is spending their time research. I think sometimes not great callers like to research because it's almost a way of call avoidance, right? And so it is good to divide that role out and allow your SDRs to do what they do best, have the data and have their calling list ready for them. They can request some research. We have methodologies where it can request research. They can request different people within an organization, but they're not the ones spending hours going through Zoom and finding those. And so if those SDRs start with zero data at the beginning of the program, they're just not going to be as effective. It's going to take a lot longer for them to build that TAM, build that calling list, and it's going to take longer for you to get results.
Yeah, and another thing too I would bring up is if you're evaluating appointment setting partners and they don't have that data operation in-house, that is an additional cost that you're going to take on, because you're either going to need to go buy a list, you're going to need to source a list, or if the SDRs that you're hiring through an outsourced partner are spending the first month of the campaign compiling data, you are also paying for that. So whether you have to go source it or you're paying their SDRs to do it, you're paying for that list. And so that could be a hidden cost if that company doesn't have a data operation built in. So I'll turn it over to SalesRoads. We touched on some of this, but where do SalesRoads SDRs get their data? And we're aware of zero data campaigns, but what do we do to go the extra mile to make sure our SDRs do have all that information they need to hit the phones?
Yeah, so we have a robust sales operations team with multiple data sets, both external. We have all the biggest data sets that we can purchase, as well as doing this for 15 years. We have a great internal data set. And so as part of the buildup of the program I had mentioned, we create a demand generation playbook that's the strategic roadmap to helping our clients dominate their industry. And that is outlined very clearly as to what is the TAM, what is the core customer, who are the buyer personas that we want to reach out to. And our sales ops team, before we do dial one, is researching and developing the best TAM and contact list possible that is uploaded into the CRM for our SDRs, so that when they start on day one, it's not a zero data campaign, it's thousands of data campaign, and they're off to the races right out of the gate, prospecting, booking appointments, and generating opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually just rolled out something new too, which is a research on demand process, right, David? And we rolled this out because we realized, or we just wanted to get data to our SDRs even faster. Do you want to touch on what that is and what some of the initial feedback has been?
Yeah, so what we have is sometimes when we're on the phone with somebody and we get a hint that there's another prospect we should be reaching out to, or we know that there is another avenue that we uncover in a different department within that organization that is making this type of decision, and we get that intelligence through our calls, we have a Slack channel that we've set up where that SDR can ask for that prospect, and within an hour, they will get that information. It will be uploaded into the CRM and they can start dialing it. But during that time, they can be calling other prospects, right? So they're not having to do all that research. They don't have to look at all the different databases, LinkedIn, and they're still prospecting during that time. It comes back to them, and then they come back and they can call in versus doing all that research themselves.
It goes to show the power of having an in-house data team, right? If you're bringing the list or you got to go source another one, if the record's dead, there's no process for rectifying that and finding the right information. So it really just highlights and underscores how important that one cohesive business approach, or that approach to data and calling at the same time, is really important.